Welcome to Transformers, the podcast about how business people and policymakers are creating a sustainable future. I'm your host, Kai Embren.
And COVID-19 has thrown up evidence of that. And so people are becoming very nervous about, if that's COVID-19, what does the climate emergency look like? And what beyond that does, say, the biodiversity emergency look like? So I think it's been a big shock.
What would be the 5 key turnarounds in order to ensure that we can get out of the mess that we've created, to ensure that we actually do get to net zero poverty, to ensure that we do get to net zero biodiversity loss and net zero carbon?
No, tornadoes take 3 years to change. Every single one of my changes that I've created in China, whether it's revolutionize the electrical grid by introducing smart grid, or creating the first eco-city classes for mayors, which I've taught personally 1,000 mayors across China, or catalyzing clean energy in 2007.
I devoted my entire life to the belief that the process of change begins with education. And I wasn't the only professor in business schools who felt that way. And we thought that by instilling a different set of values in our business students, and in terms of the consulting that we were doing and the writings that we were doing, that we would have a long-term impact and bring about change from the inside in a non-radical way, in an evolutionary way rather than in a revolutionary way. And I would say that on the whole, we've failed. We've had some successes on the margin. Yes, I think there are some changes. Things have gotten better, but they have so much further to go that it's hard to believe that the changes will occur fast enough, for example, to head off the global warming crisis. I just don't think that if you look at the pace of change in corporations in the U.S. and in Britain, I don't think it's fast enough to keep up, with the problem, with that growing problem.
The green bond market has been very successful at 2 things. First, it's created enthusiasm for the idea that investing in climate solutions can actually be an opportunity. It can actually be an opportunity without too much risk. And that has broadened, opened up people's minds. It's turned what has been a problem investment, that is, how do I deal with the problems in my portfolio because of climate change, into, I can invest in things that'll make money.
And I think that pension funds, as been mentioned before here, has a very important role to play. If we're going to manage the transition needed, we need to actually employ the capital we have. And we also know that 15 trillion of fixed income investments today carry 0 or negative interest rates. The possibilities to actually address climate change as an investor or capital allocator has never been better.
I really believe that bioeconomy is essential.
At a city scale, biomass use, certainly the closed loop economy, the circular economy that Anders was beginning to describe is an absolutely essential part of the way forward.
Aside from phasing out fossil fuels, the way to do this is to bio-based combined heat and power with carbon capture and storage, which leads to real negative emissions. The size of just the carbon sink we can create in one of our plants in Stockholm is considerable. 800,000 tons per year, which is equal to all the CO2 emissions from car traffic in Stockholm during 1 year. And if there's something I would like to emphasize at this stage, I think that it's really important that the EU sets emission removal targets already now. Reduction and removal are complementary. They are not competing. So there is a lot of things to be done, if you ask me, about the political dimensions. And what is needed, of course, is that politicians can see that this is a possible way, is a piece which is necessary if we would like to actually achieve the global climate targets.
And we think that a proper strategy consists of both. It consists of avoiding and removing of emissions.
There is no safe landing on climate. We cannot hold the planetary boundary on climate, the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit, only by decarbonizing the energy system. actually just transgressing the other planetary boundaries, in this case predominantly because of unsustainable food production, can or will on its own crash through the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit.